This is my 1985 Pontiac Trans Am project that I purchased with an electrical problem. It turned out to be a whole lot more problems than what I was anticipating. There was an electrical problem which I found and fixed. However, I found engine problems. I went to replace the water pump and it turned out the harmonic balancer had rubbed a hole through the timing cover. You can see the harmonic balancer rubbed its way right through the timing cover. So now with the oil leaking, or I saw antifreeze leaking from the intake, and with oil leaking from every gasket, I think the smart thing to do is to pull the engine and reseal the whole motor and put it back together. I've got this on the hoist. The plan is to get this engine out and put it into an engine stand so I can start replacing all the gaskets on it. Well, I've gotten pretty far. I got everything underneath disconnected. The exhaust, which was in terrible shape and condition, has been completely removed. We're gonna have to redo all of this and make a new exhaust for it. I have the 2 top bell housing bolts left to get. The fuel rail, I'm gonna pull that out and the rest of the intake manifold off just so the chain doesn't bend anything, because it's a lot of fragile stuff on top of this motor when you're pulling it out. Here's something interesting I found. This new distributor cap, nobody even tightened the bolts on it. I don't know how this car even ran. So we found lots of little problems with this thing. We're gonna get them all taken care of and this car's gonna be in great shape. Sometimes you gotta wonder, looking at this exhaust, it looks like it was made with a pipe bender. Maybe they bought all these pieces, and maybe they did. They definitely didn't know how to weld, because that's the connection here. This is the connection right off the exhaust manifold, because that's the pipe where they cut the Y pipe. I don't know. Like, you didn't possibly gain any performance. All you did was make it bottom out. So we're gonna definitely fix this and give it a way better exhaust system than it had. It'll sound really good. The one thing I hate about these F-bodies is the nose is so long. I have to put this extension bar on the lift, which is a little bit sketchy, but we're good. It's not going to break. I've done this several times with this particular bar. Yeah, anyway, plenty of clearance now. We're going to get it pulled out and get this up in a stand, and we'll see what it looks like when we get it out of here. All right, so I got it pulled up and out of there and onto the stand, and as you can see, everything's just coated with oil here, which is why I wanted to pull it apart and fix it. I could have probably just did the timing cover and got it to seal up okay, but with all this leakage on the oil pan running down the backside of the intake, I also saw a puddle of antifreeze right here when I first got the car, which I think was, or probably was actually right here, coming from this intake port. Timing chain is super loose. It has the plastic coated gear. There's plastic over the aluminum to keep it quiet. What happens is when these get old, the plastic starts to get loose. You can actually see it moving and oil coming out of there. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but the plastic gets loose on the aluminum and falls apart, and then all of a sudden your timing goes out. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna clean it all up, probably give it a good paint job, and kind of a DuPont rebuild, more or less. I do not intend to put a lot of money into this engine. Obviously the things that we have to fix: spark plugs, the timing chain, all of the gaskets, oil change fluids. If I see anything wrong inside when I open it up, we'll address it, but we're not trying to stick a fortune into this car. We just want to make it run. So in here, we're going to take the opportunity with the engine out to get the power washer, spray all this off, and get it all kind of cleaned up. I'm going to take care of some of the loose wires that are out in the loom here. Well, I'm going to say that's a big improvement. One thing's for sure, I definitely am not going to get as greasy putting it back together inside this engine compartment, because the whole cross member was caked in grease, and I've got it pretty much down to bare metal. Cleaned up really nice. So I've got the engine torn down as far as I want to go, and it's actually in pretty decent shape. Definitely getting a new timing chain, all new gaskets. I'm gonna put a rear main seal in it, and I have one snapped off exhaust manifold bolt. It broke because of rust in the manifold. It didn't freeze in the cylinder head, it froze in the manifold, so I'm gonna have to get in here and torch that. That was my mistake, I should have stopped. I got this one out, it took a little while to work it back and forth, but this one's loose. I screwed up and didn't put heat on this one and broke it off, so that's my fault. I think I have a set of manifolds off of my 86 that I might put on, or we're gonna go with headers because the air pump is missing, so we're gonna get rid of these air tubes because we don't need them anymore. Camshaft looks pretty great everywhere that I can see it. I feel like this engine's gonna run great. As far as the rest of the car goes, obviously, I'm sure I'm gonna find more surprises because I have never driven this car. Could hear noise in the water pump, and that's what started the engine being removed because of the timing cover having a hole rubbed through it. All right, so I went ahead and I got myself a different timing cover. No hole in this one. We're gonna go ahead and get that thrown on. A couple of the parts I did replace. The bushing for the oil pump was cracked, so I put a new one of those in. If this was a high performance, I would have put a pinned metal sleeve, but it's just stock. Threw a new rear main seal in while we were in there, and the timing chain. I put a nice double roller on here, and so I opted for the better Felpro rubber gasket. This is designed to work with a 2-piece rear main seal, and it replaces the 4-piece where you'd have copper sides, or sorry, not copper, cork side rails and rubber end rails, and this converts it over to like a more modern style with a 1-piece rear main seal. Well, I got the 85 back inside the garage, and I thought I'd take some little bit of time to clean up the frame rail. I gave it a coat of black paint after I hit it with primer. I primered a couple spots on the firewall that were a little rusty. I'm going to touch them up with white paint and just kind of clean the engine compartment up a bit. Super excited. The engine's getting really close, so I can't wait to get it back inside because this garage is such a mess. And I'm currently waiting on insulation for my other garage, so it's time to get this thing fixed before, well, it's October, so before it snows. Freshly painted and resealed motors, ready to go back in the car. We're gonna get it dropped back in the hole here and line it up with the transmission. Well, I'm slowly getting this thing put back together. I had to order some more gaskets because I was missing them from what I had already ordered. Distributors dropped in and timed. I've got most of my accessories started to get put on. Everything's kind of fit a little loose because I have to get the intake completely assembled to finish that. Brackets over here. I got to get the exhaust manifolds on, which I just got the gaskets in order to put the rest of the brackets on for the air conditioning compressor. And yeah, hopefully I got this thing back together really soon. Well, I finally got the Firebird all completely put back together. I do have to find some vacuum line to repair a couple broken vacuum lines. I have not cranked it over or tried to start it yet. However, my son needed a battery for his car, so he stole my good battery. So this one's completely dead. I don't even know if this thing's gonna crank over with the booster pack on it or not, but we will find out in 1 second. As long as I hooked everything up right, we'll find out. All right, we got absolutely nothing. All right. Well, guess as we don't have good contact here on the ground. Oh, there we go. I'm actually gonna ground it off the engine instead. I'm gonna go right onto the alternator here. No. I don't want to scratch the paint all up and everything. Here, we'll go right off this bracket. There we go. Fuel pump kicked on. That's a good sign. All right. Will it crank? Well, till there, and it stopped cranking. I definitely think I'm going to need a better battery. Yeah, it's smoking off that terminal, ain't it?
All right, I think I got to get a better battery, at least put some charge in this one before this is going to work. I went ahead and I cleaned that connection up a little better just to see. We're going to crank it over now and see if we get oil pressure. Which I currently do not have. There it is. I got oil pressure and the fuel pump's kicking on from the oil pump. But I do not have a start. That's weird. Timing might not be very good, or I don't know, because I was thinking it was gonna start there. Oh, I may have just made a big mistake. Did I hook these up backwards? No, they're right. First I thought I had the tack and the battery hooked up wrong. I'm gonna move the distributor a little bit and then try and see if it starts. There is no exhaust on the car yet. I have not got that far. Fire! Doesn't seem to want to pop. Let me give it gas on the throttle, because sometimes these things flood. Boy, it ain't doing nothing, is it? I don't know if I have spark. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't sound like it's even sparking, because it's not. Let's go this way once, in case we're too far that way. Maybe I'm a tooth off. We got oil pressure, so that's the most important thing before it starts. Oh yeah. Maybe that was just the battery getting weak. It felt like it was detonating. Oh. What do we got? Probably should get a better battery. I'm gonna end up killing my booster pack. It popped once, but I have oil pressure, and yeah, I think it shouldn't take too much longer and this thing should start. We'll try it one more time just for good luck here, see what happens. Oh, come on, start. Here we go. Here we go. Woohoo! We're running. But I also don't have antifreeze on it yet. So it started. That was awesome. Perfect. It lives again. I do wonder if I had my distributor a tooth off, because I really did rotate it quite a bit. Not that that's too far. I don't know if I have to take it back out or not. We'll get it timed and we'll figure out where that actually ends up at, but it just started again, so that's pretty exciting. The next step from here is going to be to make an exhaust system and do something about the interior.